Hello, everyone. This is Christof Laputka. I'm the writer and creator of the Invenios Expeditions, the Leviathan Chronicles, and the Rapscallion Agency.
Hey, and I'm Robin Shore. I am a sound designer and producer for the show.
Hey, I'm Luke Allen. I'm a composer, sound editor, and co-producer on the shows Christof just mentioned.
And we've just wrapped up our public release of the Invenios Expeditions. And this was, as we've said before, one of the biggest productions that we've ever done at Leviathan Audio. And it was in many ways a return to form and something closer in character to the Leviathan Chronicles. And those of you that have listened to the show already kind of see the connections that Invenios has with the Leviathan Chronicles. And we're excited to bring you more stories of Oberlin and Tully and Macallan and the Immortals. And we've got a lot to tell you about that. You know, the Invenios Expeditions took the help of a lot of people. And it was actually one of the biggest casts we've ever had. There were a lot of times when we were creating the show and producing it that we didn't know if the show was going to happen. One of my favorite memories of creating the Invenios Expeditions was actually with Tully. I remember there was a moment where it looked like Matt Shale, who plays Captain Jeffrey Tully, wasn't going to be able to reprise his role. And I was devastated. Matt has been with us really since the first episode of Leviathan Chronicles. And he's part of the heart and soul of the show. And we had to audition new actors, and we've done that before. And there were some great auditions and some really great voice talent, but there was still not going to be anything like Tully. And I implored Matt, and we talked about it for a while. And I'll never forget, there was a day that I got a phone call from Matt, and he says, I've been giving it some thought, and I'm in, and I want to do it. And it was at that moment that I knew the show was going to be okay, that we were going to be able
We
to...
all breathed a huge sigh of relief. Because it's not totally without Matt, really. I mean, we would have found somebody fine, but...
No, nobody can do it. Nobody can kibbutz with Oberlin the way that he can. Robin, what's one of your favorite memories from the Invenios Expeditions?
Oh, my favorite part about making this show, it was getting to hang out with you guys in person again. When we started the Leviathan Chronicles, was well over a decade ago. We were all living in New York City, so a lot of our collaboration was in person back then. But as years went by, Luke moved across the country a couple times. Christof then moved across the country, and we were all living in different places. So, we were doing a lot of work remotely where we weren't really in the same room. We were just communicating over email. And this show ended up being a big reunion because we all came together to record live with our cast in Los Angeles. So, that kind of in-person collaboration is just so much fun. And it also ended up being kind of a big send-off for me as well, because right after our final recording session for the Invenios Expeditions, I actually fled the country and moved to the United Kingdom. So this show is my last big hurrah in the United States.
What about you, Luke? What do you remember?
The first thing that comes to mind is as a composer, reading the scripts for this show. I could just tell there was going to be so much juicy content, so many different sort of like musical flavors that I was going to get to play with. So I just remember being like super stoked to get started, and it really allowed me to like experiment and play around with all sorts of different sort of musical ideas. And you mentioned like think of one thing that sticks out. I remember when I was working on the music for episode 4. There's this big set piece scene where they're being chased. I think it's Tully, Sheffy. I forget exactly which crew members it is.
And Oberlin, right?
Is Oberlin with them too? I wasn't sure if he was back on the ship at that point.
With the running of the bulls.
Yeah. So it's totally Oberlin and Sheffy. Basically, they end up trapped in a running of the bulls situation. I have to run for their lives, and I really was having so much trouble figuring out exactly how to nail that kind of like Spanish flavor with the tools that I had musically. And then I was hanging out with a couple friends, and this guy Will mentioned that he knew that I was a composer, and he mentioned that he was trying to sell his old Vandalin. And I was like, you know what?
Oh,
I was like, you know what? That sounds pretty cool. And then he was like, yeah, I'll give it to you right now for $100. And I was like, sold. So I had it right here, and it ended up being like the perfect
no way.
like lead instrument for that Burning of the Bulls scene.
Perfect.
Anyway, but listen for it when you listen to episode 4. It plays a big role, and then I ended up using it a bunch more times in the show, and it ended up being kind of like a part of the flavor for the score.
And we always say how much the right music just amps up the energy, and that was really fun to see with Invenios. And Invenios is continuing to be appreciated. We have started in award season, and Robin, I think you've got something to tell us.
Yeah, I just returned from the New Jersey Web Festival, where we were up for several awards, and also got to hang out with a lot of other great fiction podcasters, meet a lot of people whose shows I've listened to before and really enjoy. And you may hopefully be hearing from some of those people in our feed in the coming months. And I'm very happy to say that while I was there, we won an award there for the best sound design in scripted audio fiction. Those of you who are watching this, the video version of this on Spotify, can see the award right now. I'm holding it up to the camera. And if you're just listening, you're going to have to trust me that I'm holding it here. You can hear me tapping it.
And the sound design is really a testament to the work that you and Jonathan did. I think it was definitely, one of our more ambitious seasons, where we really try to create a set piece in every episode. And I think you did a great job with that.
Thank you. And I know you have some news on this front as well.
Well, I do. I'm very proud to say Invenios Expeditions has been nominated for Best Scripted Fiction on the Signal Awards. And this is a really great award show, because it kind of covers the whole span of podcasting. They recognize business podcasts, family podcasts, interview podcasts, and of course scripted. So this is really an award that gives us a lot of recognition within the podcasting field that we're in. But most excitingly, they also have a Listener's Choice Award, and we're in third place for this right now, which is just amazing to think about. So for all of our listeners that have enjoyed the Invenios Expeditions, it would mean the world to us if you could just take 10 seconds and vote for us at the Listener's Choice Awards for the Signal Awards. That website is vote.signalaward.com. Look for the scripted fiction category. And we're also going to put the link in the show notes. But please, if you have just 10 seconds, give us a vote. The other shows that are ahead of us are part of major IP franchises. And this would really be a win for independent media. We're just, we're a small independent podcasting studio, and we're going against some big dogs. So for you guys to support us, for us to win this award, it would really, really mean a lot. So now that Invenios is wrapped up, many of you are wondering what's going to be next. And Luke, what do we have next coming up on our feed?
Let's talk about some Leviathan Chronicles history here for a minute. So depending on how long you've been listening to the show, you may remember that over a decade ago, a series of special edition episodes were released that we made, and they were mostly only available for purchase on our website. They've always been kind of behind a paywall for the most part. Each one sort of expands the lore and mythos of the Leviathan universe in like a really unique, character-driven way. Each one kind of takes one aspect of the story and like expands the backstory a little bit. Christof, you're gonna have to tell me exact. I think there are six.
We have 5 right now. There's a
5 and one
production.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Anyway, so we're announcing today that we are going to be releasing these as updated versions on our podcast feed. And maybe Christoph, you can elaborate a little bit on how we plan on going about this.
You bet. So the new special edition episodes are going to be coming out right away. The first one is going to launch this Tuesday, and it's going to be Internal Affairs. Internal Affairs was a story written, again, over a decade ago, and it really takes us back to the very first episode of the Leviathan Chronicles. What happened to the USS Dakota, the submarine that went missing? Where did it go? What was it being used for? And how does Jason Sterling play into all of it? So this is really one of my favorite special edition episodes. I'm really excited. And all of these episodes we're going to update them, some a little, some a lot. So we're trying to really refresh them because they were, again, made a long time ago. So they kind of reflect what we knew at the time. So we're going to be having Internal Affairs come out over 5 weeks, starting on Tuesday. And after that, you're going to be hearing The Rogue Plague, which is a story that's really the origin of how Evangeline met Harlequin, and also the origin story of Angus McKay, who many of you know is the beloved bartender of the Salty Squid in Leviathan. So I'm going to let Robin talk a little bit more about what makes these episodes special and what we're doing.
Yeah, we've been talking about wanting to refresh and re-release these episodes for a long time. They're really fun to listen to, but we made them so long ago that we listen to them now, and there's kind of a lot of goofy things that we hear in them that we're like, wow, I wish we could go back and change that. So we're going to go back and be trying to make a few changes. We've got a bunch of new artwork coming for them as well. And Luke has been writing brand new theme songs for each episode that are a riff on the original Leviathan Chronicles theme.
Yeah, I've been having way too much fun doing basically cover songs of the original Leviathan theme in the flavor of each special edition episode. So you guys can look forward to that as well.
And yeah, these were episodes that were originally released as kind of just like big standalone feature-length things. So we're now going to be sort of re-releasing them as mini-series in the podcast feed, available for free for everyone now. No longer behind a paywall, because we know, it's been a long time since these things came out. A lot of our fans probably didn't even know about them. They've been buried behind a paywall for so long. So
if you've listened to Leviathan and discovered us in the last 3 years, you've never heard these episodes.
Yeah, last 10 years even. Just really excited for a new audience to be able to listen to these. But these are not the only things we've got coming up in the podcast feed. We've got some fun stuff planned for the holiday season as well. Christof, you want to tell people a little bit about that?
Sure. So we've got a little tradition here at Leviathan Audio, and it really comes from, I think, childhood, where we all used to love that these Christmas specials used to come on television, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, these great little claymation series, and you only got to see them once a year. And there was kind of an occasion to getting to see them, and it put you in the holiday spirit. And we love the holidays here at Leviathan, so we've generally tried to put out a new holiday episode every year, and they only come up in December, and we put them away back in January. So the only time you get to listen to them is the month of December. And we have a Christmas special that we released every year that's set in Leviathan. We have one with the Rapscallion Agency. We have one that's really the three of us here at Leviathan Audio. And we are working on a new fourth holiday episode that you're going to hear this year that takes place within the Invenios. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. So please pay attention to the feed in December. That's our big holiday season, and we've got a lot of surprises in store. So we really hope that you guys enjoy it. And if you want to hear all of those holiday episodes whenever you'd like, there's one way to do it, and that's on our Patreon page. Patreon is how we pay for these productions. It's how we get the resources to pay for all the amazing voice talent and musicians and engineers and everybody that helps us make Leviathan possible. We're an independent production, and your support on Patreon is crucial for us to be able to keep bringing you stories set within the Leviathan universe. And there's a lot in Patreon that you might like. In addition to getting to listen to all of these episodes ad-free whenever you'd like it, we also have a lot of behind-the-scenes footage. We have short stories that are being written. One of the things that I struggle with a lot is there's so much Leviathan lore that I want to share, but creating audio drama takes a lot of work. It takes up a lot of time. And we have to be very judicious about what aspects of the Leviathan universe we want to use our resources to tell. But it is a deep world build, and getting into short stories and other forms of media to help tell those stories is something that we do on our Patreon page. So please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Leviathan Chronicles. And even if you're a free member, you still get news, you get stuff that's going on with us, and it's a great way to just be in touch. And if you've enjoyed the Invenios Expeditions, please consider subscribing. It's a great way that we stay in touch with all of our fans and let you know what's going on.
And yeah, we're going to have a bunch of fun new stuff coming up on the Patreon in the next few months as well. We've got a link to a merch store on there where you can buy posters and t-shirts and all sorts of cool Leviathan and Invenios and Rapscallion branded merchandise. We're going to be releasing original soundtrack albums for the Invenios Expeditions and Rapscallion Agency on there, so you can listen to the music. And then the thing on there that's coming up soon that I'm most excited about is the Salty Squid cocktail recipe book. Longtime listeners may remember we did a Kickstarter campaign, probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And we had talked about producing this cookbook of Angus McKay's cocktail recipes from the Salty Squid. And it might have seemed like it disappeared, but it hasn't. We haven't given up on it, and we've got that coming out on our Patreon this December, both as a illustrated PDF as well as an audiobook narrated by Angus McKay himself.
We're really excited about it. This has been something that we've honestly been working on for a while. It's a great little book. It has 10 cocktail recipes and 10 adventures of Angus McKay, little vignettes and something really fun. And this has been just a pleasure to put together. And if you were an eagle-eared listener to Invenios Expeditions, you remember that when they were in the 1010 Tiki Bar, the little speakeasy within the Invenios, there was a book sitting on the counter from the Salty Squid. This is that book. It's real, it exists, and it's going to be on Patreon. So again, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/Leviathan Chronicles, and we'd really love your support.
Invenios might be over, but you can see we've got a lot of fun new stuff coming up in the next few months. And I know the big question on everyone's mind is what we've saved for last. When is the next season of Leviathan Chronicles coming out? So, Christof, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. We're still in the process of fundraising, and that's, again, why your help on Patreon is so important. But the next major chapter in the Leviathan universe is going to be called the Syraxian Cataclysm. And this is really the backstory to the two aliens that came to Earth that conferred the power of immortality to Evangeline. Why they came to Earth and what happened to their planetary civilization is an incredible story. And we've already started telling part of it on our Patreon page. You can see the album art for the new show. This is going to be we kind of imagine it as a Game of Thrones in space type story. So we're in the process of that. And then the hope will be after these 3 spin-offs that we've done from the Leviathan Chronicles, Rapscallion, Invenios, and Syraxian, that we're going to return to the Leviathan Chronicles and start a new saga. This is really predicated on our ability to raise funds for the show, but our hope is to then begin a new 50-episode saga titled The Maddox Ascendancy. And we're calling the first 50 episodes that many of you have listened to as the Immortal Saga. So we're creating these two big 50 episode arcs within the Leviathan Chronicles, and we're kind of setting up the chess pieces with all of these spin-off series. And we're really excited to keep expanding the universe in new ways. And again, that's going to be a lot through new forms of media that we're going to be posting on our Patreon page. So we hope you'll join us there. And we really hope that you've enjoyed Invenios Expeditions. We had such a fun time making this show and reminding ourselves why we love audio drama so much. This has been such a huge part of my life, and I know for you guys as well. This has really been one of the longest running projects that you guys have worked on, and I'm so grateful for all of your help and all the help of the cast at making the show possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for what's next.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you all real soon.
Leviathan Audio Production.